if I see that it's early enough and it's the kitchen's clean enough for me to start working, I'll just start making breakfast. And I usually try to use stuff that's going to go bad first, because we don't have any refrigeration here other than, the outside, which can be used as a refrigerator in December and January, and probably February too. First thing to do is to break it down into manageable parts. Depending on the weather, like the first year that we got, it was still warmish out, like in the 50s, so I had to work faster with the meat and get a lot of it salted and under cure.
You could be here for 10 days regardless, unless you do something stupid and you're asked to leave. But the first 3 days you have absolutely nothing that you have to do. You can literally sit around and be to yourself for the first 3 days and do absolutely nothing. Well, Alyssa told me this, and I'm like, I'm used to working 50, 60 hours a week. I'm like, that's not going to feel right. I'm going to have to do something. So I'll probably take a day. I took an hour.
When I had this little one, it became even more of like a strong vision, because I was like, I can't go back on that now. Like, I want to show her this, and I want, the children of the world to grow up with that new, which is also super ancient, but that idea, not like I did, not super separated and disconnected from their environment, but really connected. So
why did I come to community? This living sustainably, living communally, it promotes everything you throw at this idea, it solves. Freedom. Well, it's free land for free people. I'm able to do as I please, so long as I'm being productive, being a part of it. Corruption. Well, it's an egalitarian community handled by consensus. We all have a say. We all have the same amount of rope. We all have the same strength of voice if we choose to exercise it. You think about a sense of purpose. You're in a community. Everything you do serves the community or is a disservice of the community. So if you're actively not living a purposeful existence, you can see its immediate effects because it's not being of service to the people around you. So, yes, as far as the pollution, sustainability, if we're polluting this planet in a detrimental way, well, what's the way to handle it? Let's grow our own food and produce our own electricity and sustainably handle our waste and get clean water.
So I just look up the garden, and then I found its Facebook page, and it had its mission statement. I read that, I'm like, oh shit, this place is awesome. Just anyone can show up at any point. Like, you don't need anything. That's so crazy. And it sounded like, there's an amazing vision that they wanted, and I found the website and all that. And it kind of happened within I found it, and then kind of like that, my decision was made.
I take care of the chickens, of course, and they love me. See how many eggs they've laid, check them out, make sure they're all doing all right. And they usually are. I've lost one chicken, but that was because of a dog bit her, and her injuries were too severe to really save her. I tried, but it just didn't work. They were living in the bus you were living in, and the dog got away from him. That was the first day they'd been let out of their pen. Raised on a farm, you can't get attached to any animals because a lot of times they're used for food. You can't have a pet animal. So it is what it is. A lot of things are just as they are. They can't be changed. There's no blame. I don't blame the dog. I don't blame the chicken. It just is.
It's gonna be ridiculous. 1, 2, 3. Everybody got it? And down.
That space, that wiggle room right there is no good.
Or just shimmy something into it.
Where I don't know.
We're gonna burn Saturn, see, because Saturn represents all the evil people that are trying to control the world, and we're gonna burn it because Jupiter's gonna win, and all the gods are gonna be free, and they're gonna do what they fucking want. We're getting Saturn. We're gonna have a floating Saturn bonfire for the alignment.
Hold the support in the middle to bump it up. Just hold it there.
To hold ourselves to the mission statement, which is just like, you know, free land for free people. We try to be like as inclusive and encouraging as possible, and accommodating, you know, to children and other people's needs. Like, so that's, but also like, you know, have good work ethic. You know, hold yourself to a high standard. Like, do what it is that you can do. Bring what you can to this place that you live, you know, and that's like how everyone gets by, is just like lifting each other up and bringing what they have, and like being as inclusive and, you know, similar to a community or a family. I like to think of the extended family.
It started with like no rules, except it was consensus based. You know, decisions were made on consensus was the only rule, and so there was a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting, not a lot of motivation towards common goals. But it was still, you know, I saw it as going through the process.
A lot of people kind of naysayed on it and said that it was, always just going to be used as a squat and trashed. But I saw it as a process that people need to see that would happen so that they would want to create structure to prevent it from happening. And if you just create structure, that no one will understand really why that structure exists.
And another girl, take my pain away. Would you take me down? Let us do is to take me down.
To give people a chance to live an alternative and live more directly with the land and the earth, and also show others how they can, and cooperate to try to create as many places as possible to where you could live without contributing to different destructive things of modern society.
Yeah. So 2, 4, 8, 16.
It's pretty time consuming, so we're starting it earlier so that when the big push for the bridge comes later today, we won't be held up by just us sitting there going forever.
All we can do is hope. Seems about right.
In kind of a discard act, sometimes they can be shaped like wedges. So I'm also trying to pick out the thicker side of the wood. Well, you can stop being the star of everything. Size your hair. Hold that.
Until it stops, that's what I do.
Watch your head.
Look at that, we might have a bridge one day.
Never cross the river empty-handed. We have to stabilize them with the beams underneath, so we're drilling straight into the metal frame that was already there, so that we can do the support beams. That'll be pressure treated. And then all of the top pieces can just be screwed into that so they can be removed and put back really easily.
It's all good. Is that doing anything? I got it.
At least pinboard tight now.
We're tapping down screws. It's still not doing it.
broke through? Oh shit.
She's so excited.
Try and mess up the threading on bolts for me. How many? Okay, 3 bolts.
Yep. Got it.
Yep.
I was walking back to Robertson County where I grew up, and a van load of hippies picked me up. Said, "You want to go to the garden?" I said, "What's the garden?" I'm thinking, what the heck are you talking about? Hippie communities, what come to mind. Everybody calls it an intentional community, which everywhere's an intentional community. Just different people live there.
That's my job here, is to be the handyman on a practical level, but to operate in those 3 sacred spheres, exploring the religious sphere, exploring the educational sphere, and exploring the sphere of play. Because you can go to a religious institution and you will find community and you will find connection, but you can't necessarily play on the playground, because they say, no, here's our doctrine, this is what you follow. So much opportunity in a land like this and a time like this that, why wouldn't we be doing this? Because the answers that we do have aren't working. If I accept the world that we have right now and the systems that we have right now and the models that we have right now are the only ones that we can actively use to better our lives, then I resign myself to a mundane existence.
What is the garden to me? To me, it's actually a place where I can just be myself.
Sometimes it's like, okay, I really need to eat and he needs to rest. I can go to the community and there's food and there's other people who are willing to hold her and to help take care of her and who I can talk to and who can support me.
My vision for the garden is more a vision that for the whole, and that the garden is one important part of, and that there'll be a bunch of other hubs like this that anyone can show up at any time to. And they'll be connected to other communities that maybe not everyone can show up at any time. Only people under permaculture mutual aid can show up at any time.
We went through all types of scenarios and came to the conclusion that the best way to upset the system to change it was to not participate in it. And then we were like, well, and we went all these different ways to encourage and empower people to not participate, but it all started, we had to have a hub, a sustainable hub to do it, to be the example, and to help.
And to build a relationship and make more places where people can have free land for free people so they can be free.
It's not like you're surrounded by your friends all day and not just end up sitting around doing nothing, because all your friends are being productive. So it's like, hey, you're chopping wood, can I help? Hey, you're laying mulch, can I help? Hey, you're cooking. Hey, do you need anything chopped up? Do you need anything done for prep? It's literally how everybody is here. We're all working towards the same goal, and it's sustainable living.
Lost souls searching for a change, and you gave yourself too many times to count.
For people like me who may feel like misfits in the world, to come here and just simply be themselves.
But the basis is get people sharing space in a egalitarian way, where it's not like, at the graces of
some landlord or some boss guy, you know. And instead, it's just like accountability to everyone else there.
I'm here to experience the highest states of being possible. I want the greatest amount of joy. I want see the greatest amount of beauty. I want to be madly in love with every person I see. Is that possible? Well, we're gonna find out.
Rule and law and order isn't the only influence we have. We can be autonomous and still be working cohesive, awesome human beings together. We don't have to have those rules and laws and orders to be a community and be a planet of amazing people working for amazing things. And that's what it's all about for me.
The garden is to grow people. Not just plants and animals, people. To bring them into a different way of looking at things if they haven't already figured it out yet. You know, living together in a community to just get along together, not argue, love each other. Love is the number one thing. Only love. Love, kindness, and compassion to everybody, to all humankind. Life is the same way. Life should be lived with happiness. Not always possible, but it's a discipline that you get into. And I'll continue doing it until my body goes back to the earth. Because we don't own anything. It's only borrowed.